Hello, everyone. This is Samir Divanji, and let's begin with Revenue Management Part 2. I'm sure you must have seen Revenue Management Part 1 and got introduced to the concept of revenue management, its importance, its benefits, its origin, etc. Let's do a quick recap. So, we went on a Maldivian holiday, we were on a flight to Malé, and we all wondered whether we've paid the same amount as our fellow passengers. So that's where revenue management entered the airline industry first, and then from that to the hotel industry. So we said revenue management today is a specialized field. There are revenue managers, director revenue management, etc. in hotels and important hotel chains. And revenue management means maximizing revenue, as simple as that. Maximizing revenue is revenue management. Successful revenue management is to sell the right product to the right customer to the right for the right price on the right day. All right. So today we are looking at elements of revenue management. So let's look at what are the elements: group room sales, transient room sales, food and beverage activity, special events. I've also on my YouTube channel done a series of front office terminology. In that, I purposely took the term transient. Transient segment or transient guests are those which are non-group guests, not to be confused with transit. Transit guests and transient guests. All right, so these are the elements of revenue management: group room sales, transient room sales, food and beverage activities, special events. Let's look at each one of these. Let's discuss each one. So let's start with group room sales. Does the group request fit in the hotel strategy for the period? Group of profile information, booking data, wash factor, anticipated group business, lead time, displacement, etc. etc. So what do we mean by that? Groups are a very important source of revenue for most of the hotels, whether city hotels or resorts. It just means that you have a bulk booking and then you can rest assured that you are on a good occupancy percentage. So it's great to attract groups, whether for leisure or for business meetings, conferences. All right. So group room sales are always lucrative for hotels to fill up their inventory, especially for huge inventory hotels. But now a revenue manager will think, does this group request fit into the hotel strategy? Hotel has a strategy for a period. It has forecasting. How many from which segment are we targeting? Okay, our transient guests are going to take so much percent. So we have this much rooms to play with for groups. So first look at that. Does that group request of say 50 rooms or 80 rooms fit into that? Now group profile information. What is the data of the groups? What is the profile? All right. Are they sort of surgeons or doctors from all over India coming to your hotel? What would be the wash factor? What is the guarantee? Wash factor, I've done it in my terms again, is what basically a group, if they promise you 80 rooms, and by the time 1 year back, because group bookings are done much in advance, especially for pan India or huge events which happen. So wash factor is that number of rooms that are reduced or they are taken off from the group that are not occupied. So if the group booking has 50 rooms and wash factor gate takes away 10 rooms. So you may not have the group taking all 50 rooms, but maybe only 35 or 40. So you have to take that cancellations or the wash factor in account. So how much is the group giving you business? Are they only using your rooms or are they also using your various different food and beverage outlets, your meeting rooms? Are they also using your spa, etc.? And how many transient guests do you have to say no to or displace because of this group? Because this group will come in once, but your transient guests, non-group guests, they may be your repeat guests, they may be your loyal guests. So you have to look at all these factors. So as I've said, sometimes a group request comes as early as 2 years in advance, especially for huge events, which people travel all over the world from. All right. So you have to look at group booking trends and, as I said, the wash factor, etc. The hotel also should look at if it's fitting in the strategy, as I already mentioned. Lead time and displacement also are important. Let me read the last sentence. Most groups tend to overestimate the rooms they need by about 5 to 10% wash factor. So you have to be careful. They may put up their hands and say that, listen, we don't need 50 rooms now, we need only 35, but you have to be prepared for that. Second one is transient room sales. Transient, as I said, in this context is non-group travelers. All right. So these are your guests that keep coming back to you. So you have to look at how much you have kept for them, strategy for transient room sales. Now, discounting also. Sometimes transient guests pay better than groups, because when I'm assuring you 100 rooms group, I'm also asking you for a huge discount. So group rates are almost always lesser than your regular transient guest rooms or single FITs, FFITs. Transient business is usually booked closer to the date of arrival. So of course you can predict or forecast, but you don't know for sure that your rooms will pick up by so much. You have historical data, yes, but you can't be as sure as you're in a group booking that so many bookings will happen and so many rooms will be taken by transient guests. To maximize room revenue, front office managers may decide to classify rooms by location, desirability, size, and charge a premium. Again, maximizing room revenues. So, so we have a beautiful sea view, and of course, it's an expensive room. Or you give extra facilities there and you charge a premium for it. Now, discounting may reduce a lot of business and there may be resistance because of that. So you have to be very careful about if the room is remaining vacant, otherwise, then you can give a discount. Otherwise, do not. So this is transient room business. The third is food and beverage activity. Groups, are they requiring both? As I said in the first point, are they going to use a lot of your banqueting besides guest rooms? Then, of course, it makes sense. What's your food and beverage activity? How many banquet functions have you confirmed or do you hope to confirm? And then coordination with other departments. While banquet and catering functions are food and beverage revenue generators, they have a huge decision or impact on revenue decision. If a banquet with no guest room requirements is occupying the hotel's ballroom, a group needing 50 guest rooms and a ballroom may have to be turned away. So again, here, while you're considering groups, you should also look at what is the banquet sales looking at. You can't just look at guest rooms. You have to look at banquet sales or catering sales bookings. All right, so we have this requirement, which is only the banquet hall or ballroom. Now, instead of that, if I take a group or a banquet booking where they're also taking some rooms and my ballroom, that's a profitable deal. So communication and cooperation between various hotel departments, as I just said, catering sales, banquet sales, sales department, revenue management, front office, all have to work hand in hand. So let's look at this colorful slide. What comes to your mind? Diyas, crackers, rangoli, carnival, Christmas, Thanksgiving, festivities, right? Yes. So the fourth element that we are studying is special events. Holidays, concerts, festivals, big sporting events like tennis Grand Slam or Wimbledon or a French Open or a Grand Prix, Olympics, etc. So what does it say? that these are special events where we have to account for the guest movement that will happen in the city because of this. Now, here again, we have to be careful that you may restrict people. There are various tactics that hotels use. That if Christmas and New Year, you cannot check in on the day of Christmas, you have to check in one day prior compulsorily, 24th. Or if you book, you have minimum 3 nights booking, otherwise, we are not taking a booking. So, all these are tactics which are very sound revenue management tactics, but you have to be careful that you do not alienate your frequent guests, your regular guests, your loyal guests. All right. So these are various things, special events wherein the hotel really is able to fill itself up because there's a major event happening in the city or there's a big holiday coming up. Also, local, you have to have your ear to the ground. What is happening in the city? What are other hotel bookings picking up like? If my two competitors are Choco Blog, they have big groups. I obviously know that their overflow will come to me. So I need to know. So local conventions, the overflow effect. So I may not have a huge convention space in my hotel, but I know that there's a big local convention and that huge hotel in the city is sold out. So where will their transient guests go? Mostly to me, to our hotel. So the overflow. Booking pace alters room booking significantly. So you have to look at what's the booking pace, how many calls or bookings are you getting per day. All right. So decrease in demand also you have to look at if there are major group cancellations at other properties. So you have to also be friends with your competitors and have a healthy competition. So you have to have great networking and liaise with other revenue managers or front office managers in the city of rival hotel groups also. Healthy competition. So that was elements of room revenue management strategies. Then we look at high and low demand tactics. In today's part, we are only looking at the high demand tactics. In the part 3, we will look at low demand tactics. So this is the last bit really for now. After this, we have a very short 3-4 minute video. So high demand tactics. Now, obviously, as the term says, the demand is high, peak period. So obviously, what will you do? So you will use following tactics. What are they? Close or restrict discounts to generate more revenue. As I just said, that you cannot start discounting. You have to stop discounts. Lot of hotels in their contracts with companies also say that these rates are applicable for your business guests only on the weekends or during the non-festival periods. All right, holidays and long weekends and festivals are not included. Apply minimum length of stay restrictions carefully. As we said, you don't want to alienate or disappoint your regular guests. They are somebody you can count on and you want to keep them happy. So you have to be careful when you say minimum length of stay. But it's a good revenue management strategy where you say you cannot just stay for one night, you have to stay for minimum 2 nights or 3 nights. That's minimum length of stay. Reduce group room allocations as groups get very low room rates. I just said that in the previous slides that usually groups when they book, they negotiate very hard to reduce the room rates because they're giving you a bulk room booking. Reduce or eliminate 6 p.m. holds to avoid last moment no shows or cancellations. So when you're sold out, your reservations team is frantically calling up all guests a day prior saying that it's a sold out situation and we are just confirming the room booking because there won't be any cancellations and you don't want any no shows. Tighten guarantee and cancellation policies, as I just said. So we don't want any last minute no shows or cancellations. So you tighten that. You start calling them and ensure the policies are in place. Raise rates as consistent with competitors. So if the entire city is upping its room rates, you also do the same with logic. Consider a rate increase for packages, Great time to sell packages because you know the demand is high. So you should include packages which include a meal so that you know one meal of the day besides breakfast, the guest is also compulsorily having with you, for instance. A lot of resorts in high peak periods definitely want the guests to have one meal, if not all meals, like an American plan with them. So packages. Apply rack rates to higher category of rooms like executive rooms and suites. That is something which is absolutely doable. The premium rooms are sold at the highest published tariff, which is the rack rate. Select dates that are close to arrivals. Again, this is a revenue management strategy where you are saying you cannot arrive on these days. You have to check in one night prior or stay for 3 nights. Apply deposits and guarantees to the last night of stay. You don't want early departures, so you need to ensure that they guarantee that they're going to stay for those 3 nights and pay for those 3 nights in advance. So take an advance deposit. So these are all sound revenue management tactics which are used during high demand. All right, so these are high demand tactics. They're very simple, and once you know them well, you know exactly it's the reverse for low demand tactics. Let's look at this video.
Hi there and welcome back to the part 2 of the video introduction to revenue management. And in this video we're going to talk about RevPAR. You're going to learn what is RevPAR, how can you calculate the RevPAR, and why should RevPAR be your key performance indicator at your hotel. So we're going to start with the definition about RevPAR, and RevPAR means revenue per available room and is the total guest room revenue per available room per day. RevPAR is the combination between the two main indicators, the two main performance indicators of the hotel industry. It's the average daily rate and the occupancy. You can calculate your ADR through the total room revenue divided by the number of sold rooms, and you can calculate your occupancy dividing the sold rooms by the available rooms at your hotel. How can you calculate RevPAR? So it's quite easy. To do that, you just need to take your occupancy, multiply it by your ADR, and you get the RevPAR. You can use RevPAR to analyze your hotel performance on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and even on a yearly basis. And on a practical example, imagine that any given day of your hotel, you reach $150 in ADR, and you reach 70% of occupancy, and you want to know how much money all the rooms generated to your performance, for the hotel performance. So you just need to multiply the ADR with the occupancy and you reach the value that in this case is $105 per revenue per available room, meaning that each of your rooms sold and unsold generated $105 in that day. So why should RevPAR be your hotel key performance indicator, and why should you implement it at your property? So 3 main reasons for that. The first one is that the RevPAR is the combination between the ADR and the occupancy. So you're going to just analyze one key performance indicator or one performance indicator. That's going to be the RevPAR, because it's a combination of the 2 main indicators, the ADR and the occupancy. Secondly, it allows comparisons with other hotels. So you can compare directly with your competition independently of the size of the competition. And the last reason is that hoteliers are able to understand the exact performance of each room. So throughout RevPAR, you're going to know exactly how much money are you gaining throughout all the rooms or throughout each rooms available at your hotel, sold or unsold. So this reached the end of this presentation. and the end of the videos of introduction to revenue management. But keep tuned because we're going to have more videos about this topic in future series. So thank you.
So that spoke about RevPAR, which I covered in the first part of revenue management series in the previous video. RevPAR is a very important statistic. It gives you not just the room revenue part, but also the occupancy. So it's the revenue per available room is a very important statistic and key for revenue management. So a quick recap, we looked at revenue management in the first introductory series part, origins, concept, benefits, importance, what is the revenue management potential of every guest. We looked at ARR, ADR, RevPAR. In this series, part 2, we looked at elements of revenue management, group room sales, transient, food and beverage activities, special events. How a revenue manager has to be careful with group bookings, how he has to be very, very judicious with transient rooms, food and beverage activity, and special events. It's not only being thorough with your concepts of revenue management, it's about having your ear to the ground, knowing the city well, knowing the activities in the city well, movement in the city, big events, knowing your competitors, knowing your having a great network. High and low demand, we looked at high demand tactics. In the third and the final video of the series, we look at low demand tactics and various strategies of revenue management like hurdle rate, minimum length of stay, close to arrival, and sell through. Thank you. Happy counting your monies. Some reference books. There are a lot of reference books on revenue management. As I said, it's a very, very deep subject. You can really go in depth. There's a quiz at the end of the third video in the series. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your commitment to be an excellent hotelier. Have a good day ahead and keep studying revenue management well.